How are things?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Hey, just to start off, I might just get you to run through. Are there any injuries coming out of last week? How are the bodies ahead of the game against Ulster?
Look, pretty good overall. Tom Farrell came off at half time with a wrist issue, but he's absolutely fine. He's bounced back well this week. JJ obviously hurt that knee catching a high ball. It's nothing serious. We'll sort of assess him in the first part of the week. We won't take any risks with that. So we'll have a look at JJ over these next couple of days. But otherwise everyone intact.
And is Jack Carty available this week?
Yeah, he is. Yep, Jack's been cleared to play. So his face injury's cleared up really well. So he's available for selection.
And elsewhere then, 2 good wins, 68 points, scored some great tries. Would you be hoping down the line that you don't have to rely as much on scoring so many points to win games? It's a nice problem to have, obviously, but is defence something that you're looking to tighten up going forward now?
I think, yeah, certainly delighted to score those points. And as you said, some of the rugby and some of the tries we scored were great examples of where we want us to take our game this year. I think there's no concerns around the defence. I think that the good thing for us at this stage of the season is that we've had some really impressive defensive sets within games. And, it's obviously about now polishing that and making sure we don't give teams the access points that they can get, 24 points or whatever. But, you're obviously always looking to keep the opposition to a minimum. But we're pleased with how the defence is tracking. But I mean, all areas of our game will have to grow over the coming weeks and months.
Very good. And then obviously 2 good wins as well to start the season. But Ulster, they're obviously going to have a point to prove given what happened in the quarter-final up in Belfast last week. I presume you're expecting this to be a step up in intensity from what you've had in the first couple of weeks even?
Yeah, 100%. I think any game at Ulster comes with enormous edge, a lot of intensity, a lot of physicality. All interpros do. But certainly the Connacht Ulster encounters have been particularly abrasive and particularly exciting, I guess, over the last few seasons. You add in, obviously, the results at the end of last season, that'll certainly add fuel to their fire. So, no, we're expecting them to come at us strong. It'll be a really good challenge for us, actually, because, we stepped up from Ospreys to Glasgow, a quality team. I thought we did a good job on the weekend, but, to have a big interpro rival and all the emotion that comes with that from both sides, it's a really cool challenge as the next piece for us.
Great piece. Best of luck this week.
Thanks, Neil. Cheers.
Yeah, sorry, Pete. Just juggling balls here. Ulster, it seems really apparent that they've changed their style or significantly, I suppose, altered their point of difference. I mean, what have you noticed from them in the first couple of games? Early sample size, I know, but just talk to me about that a bit.
Yeah, I think Ulster has certainly talked about expanding their attacking game, and Dan's spoken openly about that. They've obviously recognised with the artificial surface going in up there in Belfast, and just I think growing their game from being contenders to they're desperate to achieve that silverware at some stage. So I think they've seen that as part of their game. They can evolve on the back of what's been a really well organised, physical, good set piece mauling team. So it'll be interesting to see where that takes them. It'll be really interesting this weekend as well, because certainly our encounters with them over the last few seasons, their structure, their box kicking, their mauling game, those physical elements of the game have been really key parts of how they've come at us. So it'll be really interesting to see, obviously we won't see their preparation this week, but it'll be really interesting to see that end product on the weekend in terms of how they decide to go after us, whether that expansive game does come into play or whether they go back to what served them pretty well at times in the past. So I'm looking forward to seeing it from that angle as well.
I just find it in as much time as it can be allowed. I mean, Colin Ford always had something. I'm just wondering what kind of extra technically, personally, in any sense of living rugby, what has he brought kind of during the kind of 100 days or so he had pre-season and in the first couple of games where he's shown the public? Well, pinpoint a couple of things there.
Look, I think first and foremost, Carl just continued to improve and get better throughout that pre-season period. It was obviously an extended pre-season. There was a lot of time in that. I think he's always had a standout point in terms of the lines he runs, the clean lines that tend to find a weaker point on a defender. And obviously with his athleticism and the size of him, he can often break those tackles or turn a half break into a line break. So he's always had that. I think he's always had a calmness about his defence in terms of being able to watch the ball and decision make through traffic. So I think that's always been there. I think he's at a stage of his career where the more games he plays, the more exposure he gets to the sort of decision making in attack and defence. He's only going to get better with that experience and with that exposure. So I think, you know, he has continued to get better. He works very hard at all aspects of his game, including his kicking. And I think this pre-season period and leading into obviously the game minutes that he's had in the early rounds, I think that just helps him grow. So, you know, we're excited about where he'll go for us this season and hopefully over the seasons to come.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Simon?
Hi, Peace, how are you? I just wanted to ask you, how are you finding the step up to the head coaching role? You seem to be making it look quite easy so far, given the results. Has life changed for you a lot?
It's certainly not easy, and it's certainly early days, so I'd love that to be the case. But look, I'm enjoying the role. I think it was beneficial for me to have that long pre-season. It was a chance to, I suppose, find my feet, you know, behind closed doors and working closely with the squad and the new coaching group. So, look, that benefited me. I think, you know, I've always had a large input into how we're playing the game and how we're training. But to be able to have opportunity to shape the overall environment, the culture of the team, the collective mindset of the team, and try and join that up with the rugby piece, you know, that's an exciting challenge, and I've really enjoyed just sort of trying to bounce between those two aspects of the programme. You know, you're always spinning plates. You know, your attention's torn here, there and everywhere, but I've loved the challenge so far, and you know, obviously the wins help in terms of knowing that we're moving in the right direction to start with.
Your counterpart down here in Cardiff, Matt Sherrod, has done the same thing. He steps up with Di Young going. I spoke to him before the season. He said he had to think long and hard about it because he really enjoyed the assistant's role. He wanted to be the best assistant he could be. It took him a while to make the decision. Did it take you a while, or was it quite an easy one?
I think you definitely have to consider that. It's you know, I'm in a position now where, you know, I'm coaching the team attack still, and Mark Sexton does a really good job supporting me in terms of, you know, looking after our strike plays and our skills and some of our backs attack. So I've got really good support there, but I think it was important to me to still have that presence on the grass and still be inputting into, you know, a major aspect of our game, at least in year one, where I'm trying to sort of get my vision of the game out there on the park. But it is a challenge. It is a skill, I think, to jump between it. 1 minute you're down in the weeds talking about, you know, someone's catch pass and decision making in a 2v1, and the next minute you're stepping back and trying to read the group and the body language and see how individuals are responding to selection decisions. So, you know, that's the challenge. It's bouncing up between the different sort of scales of where your attention is. But you know, I weighed all that up, and as I said, in the end, it was important. As long as I could keep that presence on the grass, it was a challenge I was up for.
Great. All the best this again.
Thank you, mate.